Many people wonder how firefighters are able to pull a hose to the door and throughout a building and put out such big fires. While most of it's all technique and practice, everyone has to start somewhere, and the learning process is always that first step. In this speech today, I'd like to inform you on the basic tactics and techniques to go interior on a structure fire. The fire service is always evolving and changing to try to make tactics better and make it safer for everybody out there. The only way we can create this innovation is by teaching the methods that we were taught and then giving that opportunity for those methods to be built upon and further improved for the next class coming in. First, I'll explain the main processes from start to finish of pulling the hose off the engine, and then I'll go into the process of from the door to the seat of the fire. First, as you're rolling up, you're going to determine the location of the fire and generally size up your scene. You're pretty much just looking for where's the smoke coming from, where do I need to pull that hose line to. You're going to pull your hose line off of the engine at a 45-degree angle, 10 to 15 feet past your objective. Then you're going to round off and drop your nozzle at the door. You're going to then flake your hose out in a lazy W so that you're not getting any kinks, anything tied up in the hose. Once you get that lazy W, your nozzle's all set and ready to go. You're going to give the call for water to your engineer, either on the hand signals or you're going to do it over the radio. Once you have water, you have that charged hose line, you're going to mask up, you're going to put on your SCBA face mask, you're going to connect your regulator to the mask so you have clean air to breathe inside the structure. At that point, you're going to do your primary heat check. You're going to pencil the top of the door, just little squirts of water, just waiting to see what that water does when it hits the door. Does it immediately steam up? Does it kind of bead down? Does it steam up at the bottom? You're trying to get an idea of how hot it is inside. Once you've done that, you're going to advance up to the door. You're going to feel it with the back of your gloved hand from bottom to top. And you're just trying to get a better idea of where's the heat sitting and generally how hot it is inside the structure. That's all you're really doing with your heat checks. Once you get that idea, you're ready to enter in. You're ready to get that door open. You're first going to try the handle. If that doesn't work, you may have to pry it open with your irons, which is your Halligan bar and your flat-headed axe. Once you get that door open, you're going to crack it open about 5 inches for 10-15 seconds. Once you get that door cracked, you're just looking for the smoke conditions, whatever's coming out of the building. If it's hot, if it's black, turbulent, pressurized smoke, if it's billowing out super fast, you know it's ripping hot in there. And you need to make sure you're being careful and controlling that environment once you're inside. Once you get that door open, you have it all secured, you're ready to advance inside the structure. Whenever you're inside, you're looking for 3 things: life, layout, and location of the fire. You're looking for any signs of life, any victims that could have been trapped inside that you may not have been aware of from talking to people outside or your primary assessment of the fire. If you were to come across any victims at any point, you're going to stop your advancement to the fire, you're going to tend to that victim and get them out of the structure. You're also looking for layout of the house. You can get a kind of general idea of where everything's at just by what's in front of you when you're looking at the house directly from the street, and just by kind of windows, placement of everything. You want to get an idea of where you're at so that if you were to have to bail out of the structure, you at least kind of know what you're going through and what you need to get back through. So you also may have to do some things to cool down the environment. Um, it gets really hot. You're going to have a lot of smoke. You may not be able to see very well, but your other senses, you're going to have to feel everything inside that structure with everything in your body. You're going to have to watch the smoke signs. If it's billowing out, if it's moving, rushing real fast over your head, if it's getting too hot, you're going to have to do some things to cool down that environment. You can either do a wall ceiling wall where you're shooting water from the floor up the wall, across the ceiling, down the other wall, or you can just pencil the top of the door. You're also looking for some other signs of flashover, like you'd see, they call it fingering or licking at the top of the ceiling. It's basically just like little flickers of smoke that's being ignited at the top because it's getting so hot it's reaching ignition temperature. You want to make sure you cool that down as soon as you can. So once you're doing all that, you're still advancing to the fire. You don't ever want to stop that objective of getting to the fire unless you find a victim. Once you reach the seat of the fire, you're going to know because you're going to have intense heat. You might have some thick black smoke. You're going to want to do a few things before you just start dousing the fire with water. You're going to want to communicate to your crews outside, hey, engine whatever number to outside to truck crew on the roof, whatever. You're going to want to communicate to them, I've reached the seat of the fire, because they're up there waiting for you so they can cut that ventilation hole in the roof and they can let some of those hot gases and smoke escape. The idea of that is to try to make visibility in there better for you so you can see what you're spraying water with, and also to cool it down a little bit so it's not so blistering hot on you. Once you've communicated that, you're good to spray the heck out of that fire. You're going to spray at the base of it. You don't want to spray the top, you don't want to spray the middle, you want to spray the base of it, because that's what's really going to extinguish it. All you're doing by spraying the top and the middle of it is just kind of cooling it down. You're not going to do a whole lot. You may still need to control the environment while you're in there. It might be a fully involved room, everything around you is on fire, so you're going to need to cool that upper layer of smoke. Make sure that's not going to combust and flash on you. Once you completed knockdown of the fire, basically the fire's out, you're going to communicate with your outside crew. You're going to let them know, fire's knocked down, we're advancing out of the structure. That's going to let them know that everything is cleared, they're good to get off the roof, they don't have to tend to anything anymore. That's going to let all the outside emergency crews know as well, everything's all good. We're basically ready to start overhaul, which is where you try to gather up all the person's belongings, everything. Try to salvage as much of that structure as you can. So today I've gone over the basics of pulling a hose from the engine and into a structure fire for interior fire attack. While there are many other methods and tactics to doing so, hopefully you have a more basic understanding of what it is you do inside and kind of how it works. Obviously, you're not going to be an expert at it. You only really become an expert once you've done it a lot. You've had all that practice, all that time to do it. While structure fires don't happen on the daily, and depending on where you're at and your journey in the fire service, you may never even go interior on a structure fire, or you may have one every week. It kind of just depends on where you're stationed at. But the fire service is about learning. It's about perfecting the craft. To be a great firefighter is to be a firefighter that learns something new every day and tries to perfect on the skills, so that if you're at a station that never gets a structure fire and you get a structure fire, you know exactly what you need to do and you can do it on a moment's notice. It's one of the things that we need to continually practice and get better at because of the danger, and the only way to do that is to really understand the basics and practice the rest.